Hi all, hi Michael, hi. Ciao, ciao a tutti. Hi all. Hope you are well, guys. Hope you are safe at your... Oh, finally. It's arrived, Shane. Perfect. Waiting that. Ciao, ciao Nicola. Ciao.
Hey, how are you all?
Fine, fine. How are you?
Oh, this is so great. It's wonderful seeing you. Both Lydia and I, here she is.
Hi, everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao, 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 ciao.
I just wanted to share our love and thank you to you and to everybody in the world during this time, and to let you all know that our hearts are with you, to all the filmmakers everywhere and people everywhere. Just giant love from all of us to all of you.
Absolutely. And, one thing that we wanted to do with Filmmakersworld, it's the epicenter where the COVID-19 thing has really hit hard. And, Manuel and his wife have a family-run business just like Lydia and I. And we just wanted to, kind of send our love to everyone in Italy and everyone in the world as we battle this virus and tackle it head on.
And today we are going to send only good vibes to everyone all around the world and give them the opportunity to learn something with you. I follow you from a lot of years. I'm so proud of this opportunity today. And the aim of Filmmakersworld is to share this beauty to everyone in every part of the world. So happy for that.
We got somebody from France. We got somebody from Indonesia. This is awesome. Yeah. We're going worldwide. From Nepal, from Mexico. That's so great, everyone. All right, well, let's get this party started. We got a ton of great questions that came in. And I want to start with the first one. Lydia. Oh, and here's Miles today. He's helping us. Full-on family affair. What do we got, Lydia?
Okay, so we wanted to start with a question that is inspiring. So, what artistic and technical boundaries are you most looking forward to exploring and expanding on your upcoming projects?
All right, that's a great one. So here's the thing. A lot of times, I'm not that kind of cinematographer that sits there and is thinking up all these different techniques and everything while I'm just, huddled, sheltering safe, okay? It all generates from the story. So when I read a script, and I've gotten a couple recently that have come in, I sit down and I'm reading it for the first time. I'm not thinking about anything other than just falling in love with the script. And if it strikes a chord with me, if it does, then I move on in the second and the third and the fourth reads to really start to expand my ideas and what those artistic and technical things that I'm going to be using. So much is engaging with the director to see his or her vision and where they are thinking about the project and the film and all that stuff. And, a lot of it truly is my best creativity is when I talk it through. When I'm sitting in a room with the director, with the assistant director, with the production designer, and we're spitballing ideas, this is when magic comes to me, okay? It's always been that way. And a great story was on Drumline. So we had this amazing, we got access to the Georgia Dome, which is now the Mercedes-Benz Center in Atlanta. And that's where we were going to stage this massive, 40,000 fans coming in to watch all the bands perform at the Georgia Dome. The problem is we had 7 days of shooting, and we only had 2 days where the crowd was a promoted extras crowd of 30,000 people. How do we show 30,000 people in the stands when we only are able to shoot with 30,000 people in the stands for 2 days? So we started talking about it, thinking about it. And again, this is what happens with this brainstorming process. And then all of a sudden I said, what if we turn the lights off? And it was like absolute silence. And then the producer goes, that is brilliant. And then I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to suspend this massive light over the 50-yard line. And I'm going to come in and light it so all you see is just the musicians at that moment, which is the drum battle. And then we'll put strobes up in the stand so it looks like flash bulbs going off. And then we'll control that light so it doesn't go anywhere but onto the musicians. And then it makes it all about the emotion of the story that was all about the music driving them, their performance, not about the crowd, not about whether that guy had a red shirt on or a green shirt on, whether they were clapping. It was about the emotion of the story that drove the motivation to light just them and turn all the lights off. So with crowd noise and these flash bulbs going out, you felt like the place was filled with 30,000 people, but all we had was just our camera crew, our lighting crew, and our musicians. So that's the kind of stuff that really motivates the artistic and technological creativity, is when you talk that stuff through and you're hearing from everyone. All right. What's our next question? What do we got?
Okay, everybody. This question is about how many staff members do you manage in a film production? Do you always work with the same crew? How does that work on a feature set, or do you switch it up?
All right, great question there. Okay, so it all depends, right? Act of Valor, we literally made the movie with 10 people. That's it. There was all the action sequences where you see where they're coming in with their night stalker helicopters and fast roping down into the boats, and the boats get discharged and they head down the river. That was done with 6 people. Okay, so there's that small number, or you have Terminator Salvation, where I had, I think, 280 or 290 people on my grip, lighting, and camera crew. So we had a 14 camera film package at the time. I had pre-rigging crews. Sometimes they were rigging the stage and other locations. So I think the rigging team was 50 or 60 deep. And then my production crew was 15 on the grips, 15 on the electrics, 10 to 12 on camera. So these are, how you ramp up scale. And any good cinematographer wants to be able to do that. You want to be able to work with hardly anything, and you want to be able to work and manage and lead and inspire 200-300 people. So these are the kind of skills that you really have to master, because what you don't want to be known as the guy who can only pull off the low budget stuff, or the guy that can only pull off the big budget. You want to have this wonderful range where you can morph into whatever the story dictates. And on Act of Valor, the Navy just said you can only have 6 or 10 people on all of our assets, and we'll let you have them for free. And then we were like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? I go, what if we shoot this thing on a Canon 5D? It's a small camera. Everyone can grab it. The directors can be camera operators. The ACs can be camera operators. We all can be operators, and we can rock this thing out and shoot it at the right time and do this whole thing. So these are the kind of things that go through your mind when you're putting together your crew, and also for you to be able to understand that you're going to work on all different levels of production. Okay, if you're just doing one-man band stuff now, that's not what you're inspired to do. You're going to inspire to work with bigger crews and everything. So you're going to have that. You're going to get that. This is the natural progression. We all start out at the bottom. I was driving grip trucks. That was the way I was able to get into the business, because I drove 10-ton grain trucks on the farm. So this is what led me in to being part of this business. It's like you start out at the bottom, you move your way up. And I always look to like Roger Deakins, Emanuele Giannini, Bob Richardson. All these guys inspired me and drove me to be a great cinematographer. So these are the things, always understand and be humble, right, of where you started, and realize that you, again, packed that grip truck, and you understand what it takes to, move forward, and what it takes of how many guys and how much cable they have to lay and all this stuff. You just have compassion about everyone on the movie set and all of what they do to bring it forward. All right, what do we got over there?
Okay, we have so many great questions, and let me just say that I want to make sure to bring Emanuele into the conversation because we are co-doing this. So I will ask one more question, and then people have asked.
I'm pinning some questions. Yeah, I'm pinning some questions. I want to alternate the previous one you already collected with someone from followers that are now online, okay?
Perfect. So if you pin those questions, we will make sure to get to those, and that way we have some from another list and some that are fresh from your people, so we'll cover ground. And I also want to just let everybody know that normally we would say your names, but some people have asked to remain anonymous as part of this discussion, and so we're not going to be using names, but please know that we're so grateful for the questions, and do keep them coming. But we have everybody from the world here. So here we go. The next question is about specifically eye lights, quote unquote catch lights. What are different techniques to use, especially for not overwhelming contrast on your subject's face in a low key environment? So it's very specifically about eye light and lighting.
Okay. All right. Eye light and lighting, the catch light. So one thing that has been a huge, let's say a staple in my lighting kit is what I call my circle bounces. So I take 4x, 3x, 2x, so you'd make 1 meter, a half a meter, a meter and a half circles that I coat either bleach muslin, unbleached muslin, beadboard. I'll do foam core on a side. I'll do silver Roscoe flex on another. So I have all these different scenarios for catch light and bounce. In low light scenarios, there's not a lot of, you want to keep that beautiful catch light that kind of comes, you can just kind of see it in these crappy glasses that I have here. But yeah, I always try to put it just above their eye. And then for bounce lights, I'll bring it down low and slide it underneath. A lot of times, working with female stars, I bring in a bounce from below, and then I'll have a very big circular circular light from above, and I'll position that wherever the emotion of the scene happens. If they're supposed to be kind of damaged and depressed, then I'll bring it much more over to the side, and they'll create, like, your eye will actually shadow the area of your nose, and you definitely look a little more compromised and a little more damaged. If they're supposed to be very happy, then I'll bring the light around a little more frontal. So these are kind of things that I'm doing. These bounce sources, I make them in all different, like there'll be like bleach muslin on one side and beadboard on the other. Then I'll take another circle bounce and I'll do Roscoe Flex on one side and then foam core on the other. And then I'll do one that's unbleached muslin and then brown rolling. It's like a paper that you roll out on the ground. Butcher paper is what they call it. It's what butchers used to wrap their meat in. So I'll do unbleached muslin on one side and then butcher paper on the other. So each one of these creates a different type of tone. Butcher paper and unbleached muslin are perfect for really warm, night interiors where you're using a lot of warm practical light. And that's perfect for coming in with that. And it's beautiful on skin tone. When you have more day exteriors, then you're using beadboard bounces and bleach muslin. And sometimes I use even gray bounces. So that's one thing I started using on safety is I reached out to the Ragtime and they made like an 8 to 10% gray. So it took the Ultra Bounce fabric and they just made it slightly gray so that way it wasn't so reflective. So when I was using my night exteriors and I was using a big bounce, the gray just took it down and tended to funnel the light, even though it truly wasn't funneling the light. It's just the tonality of that slightly gray tone was much better for night exteriors. We called it our moonlight gray bounce. So these are all different things that you can do to try and, keep that catch light happening in their eye, and also just using different colored bounce sources to make that better. All right, Manuel, what do you got for me? You got some other questions there?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I'm scrubbing, but there's really a lot. There's one about artists that influence you: painters, musicians, sculptors, photographers, cinematographers, and
okay. Artists that well, here I got some really good stuff. Okay, so De La Tour. Okay, this guy is amazing artist. He came up with just beautiful tonalities, and he used a lot of you can see like this candlelight was his motivation, right? And she's got a candle here and it's motivating. You see the nose shadow off here. So this guy was like the master of firelight. I also love, when I was doing Deadfall, I'm gonna make sure I'm aiming it right with this split screen. So when I was doing Deadfall, I was looking at a lot of paintings for inspiration. And Pizarro was one of my favorites because he had a nice mix of sun and a nice mix of overcast. And the beautiful kind of desaturated browns and cyans. Cyan's one of my favorite colors, and I just love these tonalities that Pizarro came up with. So those are like artists that really kind of motivate me. And then you have photographers. I'd have to say within the top 5 photographers that I follow and absolutely love, it would be Todd Hito. Okay? This is one of his best books here. He was nice enough to even sign the damn thing for me right here. And he just has his, where I gotta get it aimed right, his desaturation shooting through fogged up windows. I mean, look at that haunting image. Hold on, I gotta aim it right. Yeah, look at that haunting image there. This is just amazing photography. Look at the tonalities Look at the multi-planing of color all up in here, where it's got a cyan slice here, right? Cyan slice, and it's got this really dark orange quality, then it goes into a yellow. These are beautiful tonalities. Look at that cyan vibe there as well. So these are the kind of things that really, drive me and inspire me. I'm not somebody that kind of is constantly looking for movie references and everything. I really go to the still photographers for inspiration and then go for there. All right, Lydia, what do you got?
Okay, we have so many great ones, so let's get to them. The next one is, does spending a great amount of time in pre-production and other stages really help in a smooth production and post-production?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. Okay, so here's the thing. Prep is everything. If you prep a movie really well, then it is going to be absolutely seamless. Now, here's a perfect example. On Safety, my last film that I just completed with Disney, we went in and I wanted to prep this thing with all my new skills, because I've been honing my prep process for 30 plus years now. And I've been working with my assistants, I've been working with the director, with the assistant director, with the production designer, trying to create a whole plan of communicating the vision to all departments, because that's the most important thing and the most difficult thing we do as cinematographers, is to take that vision and communicate it to everyone. So what we did is we literally sat down, and for 6 days I shot listed the whole movie. And then I took that shot list and I walked into the director's office with the assistant director, and we opened up the script and I opened up my shot list, and we just started reading the script and I read my shot list. Now what that ended up doing is the director was like, yeah, I love that. Or no, I was thinking about starting this way. Or we don't need all that, we just need this. And the AD there, the assistant director, is there as well, and he's listening to that. So now we start to formulate and we're dialing it in. By doing the shot list as the director of photography, you start the conversation, okay? Now there's other directors that come in with shot lists. There's other directors that love to storyboard. Your job is to react and to morph into whatever that director is going to drive the machine. And then you are there to organize it and try to communicate that vision. So with this, we were able to shot list the whole movie. We were able to, then we put it in documents where everyone knew exactly what the shot lists were. I described what the light felt like in the room. So now the gaffer and the key grip and the production designer and hair, makeup, and wardrobe are understanding this is what the tonality is going to be. The production designer is sending through color charts and everything so everyone knows what the room is going to be like and feel like. So these are all really cool things. Now, by doing this, the budget on the film, they had budgeted 50 days of shooting. With this shot listing and organizing and coming up with a plan, we were able to cut it to 44 days. So we saved 6 days of production and saved $1.7 million right there. Okay? Then we were able to, because we had such a plan, literally when every morning my assistants sent forward the shot list for the whole day based on the assistant director's schedule. You saw every piece of gear that we were going to use to make that happen. You saw anytime we were going to change frame rates or shoot with a different shutter. All that is on there. What exactly it's supposed to look like, the LUT that we're going to use, all that stuff is already in a document when everyone shows up at call. So now I've communicated the whole vision to every single person on the set. And what the producers described the process was effortless. Now, that's probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten as a cinematographer. So prep is everything, okay? This is where you formulate these amazing plans and you set this in action. And it was so funny. I had this story that the second assistant director said that she went out with some people and they were all talking about how's your movie going? What's it like? Blah, blah, blah. And she goes, it's really amazing. I've never been on a movie like this. And they're like, what's going on? What are they doing so different? And they're like, we get this document every morning and it has all our shot lists. It even tells you what the light's going to look like in the room. It's got everything that we're going to use. And we do that. And he's like, no way. And I go, yeah, it really works. So these are the kind of things that prep is what it's all about. And we are going to be doing a webinar next week that is on the 31st. And we are going to go into one aspect of my prep process, which is all about the rules of engagement, okay? And it talks about how you use that character development and the emotion to assign rules of engagement for every character in the story and how that works out to be, as a whole movie, you feel it. So these are things that are going to be happening, and you're going to be able to sign up. It's a members only. So if you want to sign up, we're offering this $1 a month thing for everyone to sign up so you can be a part of this webinar that's happening next week. All right, what do you got?
Okay, we have so many questions, Shane, so we got to be short.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting into the union as a camera operator, and my question is, what is the most important thing that I should have memorized or practiced before my first union film? So what is the most important thing to know before you go into your first union feature?
Okay, so first thing to understand when you're going into your first, your union feature. Okay, well, the biggest thing is you have to work incredibly hard, okay? You have to do the things that want everyone to invite you back. I had a great conversation with a member probably about a month ago, and they were talking about how they worked at a rental house and they wanted to get on movies more. And I said, well, how long have you been working at the rental house? And he said, 6 years. And I said, well, you've been working there 4 years too long. And I said, this is what you need to do to get out. And it's the same kind of thing as what you need to do to get in, okay? When I was even a grip truck driver, back in the day when I was driving the grip truck and everything, I would stop and get coffee at a place that I knew the key grip loved. And I would walk right up in the morning after I parked the truck, and those coffees would be right there. I was getting $350 a week, okay? 6-day weeks, 18-hour days. I think I was making 52 cents an hour, okay? But I bought the coffee, had it all out there, and these are the kind of small things that's going to help you rise to the top. It's like you just show that you care about these individuals, that you want to work with them, that you'll do whatever it takes. So I told this prep tech, I said, call the assistant up and say, hey, I see that you're prepping at our rental house. How about you, say, call him up, get his number from the rental manager, and say, hey, is there anything we need to do? Can I send somebody over to pick up any carts that you might have? Or is there, what kind of breakfast sandwiches do you like? And then what I would do is I'd go home and I'd label all of these filter Velcro things. So, everyone uses neutral density. Okay, so it's a guarantee. All right, so I literally cut the Velcro tabs that said 0.3, 0.6, 0.9 and put them on Velcro tabs so you could put them on the matte box. And I already prepped those things before the people ever came in for them to prep the camera. I labeled all the cases. I did all these things on the weekend, so they were all ready for them. These are the things that you want to do to set yourself apart and to organize yourself, especially when you're starting, your first feature. You want to come out on a real strong foot. So doing the small things that you would think would not mean so much are the type of things that go so far. And it's what you really respect about people, because doing those things requires emotional thought, caring, and compassion. And those things will never go out of style. All right, here we go. What do we got, Lydia?
Okay,
And Miles.
Emanuele has a special question. So go ahead.
Great. Okay, what do you got?
From Framestock, Shane, how, in your opinion, COVID, the coronavirus can impact the cinematography industry, and when it starts work?
Well, how, in your opinion, has COVID-19 impacted cinematography? Well, I think one thing that's very powerful with this is it's getting everyone to just kind of take it down a notch, right? We're all on this I call it the squirrel wheel, where we're all moving as fast as we can, and we're all trying to do our best job and all that kind of stuff. Now, all of a sudden, that squirrel wheel is ground to a halt. There's not the distractions of trying to get your next gig or already on your next gig. We're all sheltering in place. So this is time when, like I said, I literally sit there and I'm looking at these. I pulled up this one here, the Democratic Forest. I hadn't looked at this thing for a while. And this book with William Eggleston was the book that I used for Swing Vote, because Joshua Stern, the director, wanted the feeling of Texaco, New Mexico to feel sun-drenched. And this was our motivation for that. So I think the more, that's where I think this COVID-19 is doing. It's like we're having some time to watch all different things. We have time to read. We have time to look at a reel and say, God, is that the best I can do? It's like, and you're changing things up and you're morphing yourself. So I think that all this is very positive, and it's going to change the way we make movies. We got to look at this as a positive and not a negative. And I've already started to get some calls from studios, so things are starting to warm up. Even though we haven't even dealt with what Italy is dealing with right now, we haven't even gotten to that point. But things are going to start moving again. All right, what else do you got?
Okay. Number 3. I'm sorry, I'm getting there. Okay, on fathers and daughters, why 3 cameras? And specifically, was it because it's a tough child actor, or did it take a few takes to do the scene? Why just 3 cameras on that movie?
Okay, Fathers and Daughters was an amazing film. It was my first collaboration with Gabriele Muccino. So all of you in Italy know Gabriele Muccino. He has done some of the best films. I just love it. He's so inspiring. And the way he makes movies is so different and so unique. So this is a funny, very funny story. All right, so we're on Fathers and Daughters. And when Gabriele and I talked, we talked about this. We're like, all right, Shane, I just want you to know, I do a lot of these one takes, and I love the camera moving around, and I love you to be able to light all different environments, a hallway, into a classroom, into another room, into a going outside. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I only want to shoot single camera. That's how I want to do this movie. And I'm like, cool. All right, Gabriele, I love it. You know, day one, we're on set, and Amanda Seyfried is in this deep performance with Diane Kruger, and we start to see this the emotion that both actresses are bringing and everything. And Gabriel comes up to me and he goes, "We got to shoot this 3 cameras for the rest of the movie." And I'm like, whoa, 3 cameras, okay. And I had really never done 3 cameras like that. I had done 2 cameras before, but not 3. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, so we got to really start to think about this a new way. We got to block scenes so I can bring them in to the environment, and I can set up a 50-50 where you see both of them in profile, and then I have it over and over at the same time. Now, what this enables is it enables what we call, okay, there's a new age of acting, and that new age of acting is to be really spontaneous and kind of deliver unique performances each time, not necessarily the same. And I wanted to be able to react with that because this is what I saw happening, and this is what Gabriele saw even before I did. And he said, I'm going to get in the edit bay, and if we do not shoot 3 cameras, they're doing different types of performances each time. I'm never going to be able to cut it. I'm never going to be able to use the best take because they're going to be doing something different. So with 3 cameras, if they move their head a specific way or they turn and it's profile, we can use that because I'm shooting 3 cameras at the same time, and you can cut out to the 50-50, and all of a sudden you're using their best performances. You're taking the best of everything because it's lightning in a bottle. It's almost like a stage play. So you're able to really grab that and take that lightning in a bottle performance and be able to use it every single time. So that's why 3 cameras was so important on Fathers and Daughters, as well as we did the same thing on A Casa Tutta Bene, where we're using 3 cameras a lot on that as well. So these are the things that really start to take the actor's performance 10 points higher, because you're morphing into the way that they act their very best. And Gabriele saw that. And when he saw that, he came to me, and as a cinematographer, we have to react. This was a massive switch up, right? This was a big deal because lighting for 3 cameras is incredibly difficult. You can light flatly and just light it whatever, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to feel like single camera coverage. So it really took the thought process of understanding where we had to block them, how we could set them up, so we could do this very intimate 3 camera coverage.
There's a question about black magic workflow. In my opinion, if you can share your point of view about black magic, new cameras, the post-production workflow, software and everything. The world of black magic is so interesting with it.
Oh yeah, so this is unbelievable, and I cannot wait to share this one. Okay, so last movie, Safety. Okay, Blackmagic and DaVinci Resolve have been unbelievable as a tool for the movie business. But I wanted to take it even higher. So I said, what if we do a labless workflow and we find artists that understand how to use DaVinci for the whole movie? I'm talking DaVinci Sound, Fusion, I'm talking their editing system, I'm talking their color correction, everything. So we said, wow, nobody's ever done that before. And I go, I understand. Let's see if we can find people that really want to do this labless workflow. And we had so many people from, we had tons of production, post-production workflow meetings with Disney, because Disney had never done this before. And, it's like talking them through the whole process. We had 5 or 6 different meetings where we talked this all through, okay? And what we did was, once they started to get their head around it, and they started to be so excited, because, okay, let me put it, sorry, my hand's getting tired. Okay, let me put this in a perfect example for you. Right now, we have all these incredible tools to make a movie. We have Final Draft, which is what we write our scripts with. We have Movie Maker Pro, which is what the ADs schedule everything with. You know what? Those two don't even talk to each other. Okay, so then we have Avid. And then we have whatever the cinematographer is using, his programs, and the production designer. There's never anything that evens the playing field, because every device does not talk to the other device. And this needs to be converted, or that needs to be transcoded, or this needs to be that. Okay? So I'm like, what if we take the black magic and we make the whole movie black magic? We edit on black magic. We do all our sound on black magic. We do all our color on black magic. We collect all our data on black magic. Everything is black magic Da Vinci. Once that started to happen, and once we started to see the power of this, it blew everyone's minds. Because what ended up happening is we were delivering same-day dailies. So we were shooting in Atlanta, and before the Disney execs even went home, we were able to send them the dailies, and they were able to watch them before going home. So imagine that. We're on the East Coast, and we are shooting all day, our 10 or 12 hour day, and then we're able to post that stuff immediately with all the LUTs, with everything designed and the look that I wanted, and we're able to send it right to Disney. Now I go in, and we're doing the whole editing. I see all the editors are all in there. They're doing sound, they're doing this, they're doing that. And then we're doing our color correction. So Michael Smolin and I, the colorist, are working down in the color bay, while the editor is working with the director up in the edit bay. Now, as we color it, all of a sudden, I can see on DaVinci Resolve, I can see everyone that's working on the same timeline. You see what I'm saying here? We're all working on the same device that all talks to each other. I don't have to transcode the files from Avid to be able to talk to another thing. I don't have to do this to talk to that thing. I don't have to convert or transcode or anything other. So when they were editing it, they were so excited, because all of a sudden a little icon would show up on the thing that they were editing, because we had just colored it, and the minute they clicked it, all of a sudden our color went across, and they were like, holy shit, this movie is looking good, right? So it was live color grading, so they were able to take advantage of it, and Reggie just started to say, wow, there's others, I want to use other pieces of this, because I didn't realize it was going to look this way. So now in the post process, we're continuing to communicate the vision. Do you see how powerful this is? This was an aha moment for everyone. But you had to find artists that were willing to cut on DaVinci, because a lot of this is so new. A lot of people weren't accustomed to it. But we had an amazing editor that was so game for it. And all his assistant editors were incredibly excited about it, because they'd never done anything like this before. And I had never done anything like this either. This is what I continue to talk about. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable all the time to push yourself as an artist. And this process, I'm telling you, is going to revolutionize the film industry. If people understand the power of DaVinci and keeping it all on one platform where they're all talking to each other perfectly, it's a slam dunk.
One or two
That's
more
a lot of
questions.
questions. It's impossible.
It's impossible to answer all your questions, but please know how hard we're trying. And we are going to continue to do more events. So please stay tuned to our resource, hurlbutacademy.com, for future upcoming events, and to Filmmakersworld, because you have been so gracious in supporting us, and we want to do the same with you.
We love you.
We love you. And so we're going to get the word out together on all of these amazing resources coming up.